Ping Pong is the 13th episode of the third season of Everybody Loves Raymond. This is directed by Mackenzie, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. It's a great episode. There's not a lot of variety to it, so there's not a lot to cover, but that certainly doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it. I still found it to be really entertaining. It starts off dramatic and adorable. Ray and Debra are at home in the front room, and the golf bag, Ray's golf bag, comes crashing down the stairs, and Ray goes to pick it up. He's distraught. He's worrying that his golf clubs are damaged. They seem fine, and he calls the twins downstairs because clearly the twins caused this problem. And they come down the stairs, Michael and Geoffrey, and they sit on the sofa, and Ray tries to get them into trouble, and they just keep saying yes to everything, and it's just so cute. Ray was harsh because the twins are smiling and laughing, and Ray says, "It's going to be funny when we send you a postcard from Disneyland." That's very harsh, but the twins were absolutely adorable. We then cut to the next scene, and Robert and Raymond are helping Marie carry some fabric down into the basement. She's going to make some curtains for Robert, which he is thrilled about, and they talk about ping pong because they're supposed to put it on the ping pong table. And Marie happens to mention in passing that Frank would let Ray win at ping pong when he was younger, which I think is quite surprising. It's surprising because Frank seems to have a very tough love approach. And the best way to educate them on life is to show them the realities of the fact that life is sometimes hard and you don't win at everything. So it's surprising, but kind of sweet that he'd let Ray win. And Ray wants to have a rematch, and he wants to win against Frank fair and square. We have a great scene where Ray is practicing in the house and Debra is trying to sleep, and yeah, that sound would drive me crazy too. And then the bulk of the rest of the episode is in the basement, around the ping pong table. I love the fact that we have Robert, and particularly Marie, watching this game play out. Marie was fantastic, and she was really getting into it, and she was telling Ray to say things to Frank, and she was brilliant, and Frank was really into it as well. He was rhyming all of the time, which was rather amusing, and they start to fire some insults at each other, Ray and Frank, and the line that I never thought I'd hear, and Marie and Robert's facial expressions when Ray said this, the quote is, "Then I wouldn't have to smell your head without the skin on it." Out of context, definitely seems strange. It's because Ray has a big nose, so they're going to cover it with Frank's bald head skin, basically. And Marie and Robert's expressions in that were just absolutely fantastic. And the game goes back and forth. It's quite entertaining. I don't really care about ping pong in general, but I think the pacing was great, the dialogue was great, facial expressions brilliant, and Frank wins. And Frank walks up the stairs, and I love the audience's reaction to this. It's one of the reasons why I love sitcoms that are filmed in front of a live studio audience, because sometimes the audience reactions are sometimes almost as entertaining as the episode itself. And Ray says to Frank, "Now you know what it feels like when someone lets you win." I feel like that was unexpected, but also, why don't more people do that? It's very common for rematches to happen in films and TV shows when they find out somebody let them win, or they maybe lost score when they were children and now they want to see who wins. But I don't think anybody, in my experience, has ever decided to give the other person a taste of their own medicine. Instead of playing hard to win and finally beat them honestly, they decide to actually let the other person win so they know how it feels. And I thought that was brilliant. And the audience's reaction was fantastic. Frank is furious. He's not happy at all. And Marie, interestingly, is actually on Frank's side. She said that Ray took away his dignity. Ray does point out that Frank mows the lawn in his underwear, so how much dignity can he really have? But I don't think it was unreasonable for Ray to do that. But then we have a bit of a heart-to-heart between Frank and Ray in the kitchen, and it helps to explain a few things about why Frank did the things he did. And it was nice, it was well written, it was quite sweet, and a nice way to kind of end things. The actual final scene is Ray and Robert playing ping pong, and Ray throws an insult at him, and it's too much for Robert. That's the end of that. It's a good episode. I like it. I thought Marie in particular was just an absolute delight. Very funny. Yes, it would have been just as well, almost just as good if Marie hadn't been watching the game. But I definitely thought she brought something great to it. Not a lot of Debra in this episode, but what we got was still fantastic. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Funny, entertaining, a little thought provoking, not completely predictable. Ping Pong is definitely an entertaining episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.